Do you want to know how to be a more gentle parent? There's nothing more frustrating than trying your very best and having then the emotions take over and regretting the interaction afterward, and then wondering if the teaching really took root at all. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to become more gentle as a parent. I'm also going to make sure that there's not communication between how to become gentle in your parenting and what is called gentle parenting, which isn't very effective. And then we'll take some time to discuss some of the skills that you can use to help yourself be the version of you that you know you ought to be. I think we all envision as parents, when we look at our little babies, we think, oh, it's going to be full of snuggles and giggles and special moments. And then they start to act up and have tantrums and test their wills and see if they can control us and all those things that happen just by the time they're like 2 or 3. And we think, oh no, what have we gotten ourselves into? And we try to reason with them, but they're 2 or 3 and they don't necessarily want to reason well, especially if they're in their emotional part of their brain and just, having a tantrum or something. We think, how can we handle this? How can we not turn into a monster? Because it seems like only when I'm emotional and being a monster do they actually listen. But what you have to understand is if they are tantruming and then you start tantruming, what you've done is engaged in a power struggle. And if they are tantruming and you're trying to reason with them, what you're actually doing is trying to get a person to think that is not in their front brain. They're like in mid or back brain. They're not going to be able to think, so it's going to be a wasted effort. So what do you do instead? Is there anything that you can do? And the answer is yes, there is. In fact, that's what this entire channel is about: how to teach children self-government, how to teach you the skills that you need and them the skills that they need so that your communications can be effective. And you can have that unifying relationship, that calmness, that happiness, but you can also solve the problems that need to be handled, because we've got to be able to have both, right? So there was a movement that started back in the early 2000s, 2007 it began, and this phrase, gentle parenting, was born. People started talking about it. In fact, it's been talked about for years online, on social media. At first it was like, this is the thing to do, how to be a gentle parent. But then the movement, the gentle parenting movement, pretty much has been dismissed at this point as a failure. It created emotionally entitled people. The emphasis was really heavily on feelings and emotions. It did not help a person learn how to modify their behaviors. And it didn't teach them accountability for themselves. And so it made them a victim, and everybody else was now the oppressor for any problem that they had. There was a lot of impulsivity problems, some pretty extreme behavior problems that parents are dealing with now because their children became so emotionally entitled due to the gentle parenting approach, which may or may not have been the actual point of the movement. But what I'm going to be talking about today is not the gentle parenting movement. In fact, I have a lot of videos on this channel related to gentle parenting and what is gentle parenting and why do people say it doesn't work and all those types of things. So you can visit a lot of those if you're interested in that. But what I'd like to talk with you about today is just how to actually be gentle if you're struggling with that. So there's different types of parenting. There's different forms of parenting. There's modern progressive parenting, which is generally what would be the gentle parenting approach. But that modern progressive parenting creates a lot of victims, creates a lot of entitlement, and usually isolates people in the family instead of bringing you together. Then there's the bully fear-based approach, which is the power struggle approach, where you are, if they've got an attitude, you're going to come back with an attitude. You're going to teach them. That's not how we do it, by having a little bit of, retribution. There might be some vindictiveness that's happening there. Lots of punishments. By the way, consequences are essential. Gentle parenting movement does not like consequences. They're very healthy in my mind. I've worked with some of the most troubled children that society can offer, and they weren't my own. I took in therapeutic treatment care children. I also raised my own children too. And I know that they need consequences, but punishments have a different feeling to them, don't they? It's a lot more emotional, and so that's how you know you're getting in a power struggle, when you start thinking in terms of punishments. So then, what is the solution? Well, it's the traditional strict parenting approach. And in the traditional strict parenting approach, it's pre-planned ahead of time. Here's how we'll solve our problems. These are the skills that you need to use. If you don't use these skills, these are the consequences. Here's how we'll correct it every single time. It's a little bit more scripted, but if parents are honest, I think they'd have to recognize that they're scripted anyway. I mean, we're all just products of how we were raised, things we've seen and read and stuff like that. And so we put little words into our problem-solving set and we start to use them. And then if that's all we got, then that's what we use. And we keep doing the same thing again and again. And we expect that somehow the child's going to change differently on time like 25, But that's not necessarily going to be the case. Now, of course, consistency is required for good teaching, and people don't have immediate changes of behavior, but you should be able to see the rationale behind why this would be a good approach. With the teaching self-government system, we teach 4 basic skills for the children that they need to learn. And by the way, these are just adult skills. We all know adults who can't follow instructions from themselves or others, accept no answers from themselves or others or life, accept consequences, so take personal responsibility for themselves and admit when they've done wrong, and then disagree appropriately. Basically, 99% of a person's behaviors hinges on these 4 basic skills. And if you learn those 4 basic skills and the skill sets that are attached to them, that takes care of 99% of your behavioral problems. Sounds easy, right? Well, except for that sometimes they may not actually disagree appropriately. They may talk back, whine, complain. They may not accept their consequence, meaning they might fight back at you instead of saying, okay, that's true, I earned that. So then what are you going to do then? You've got to have the parent skills in place. And that's what I teach in my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, which you can find on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. But you have to have the scripts to say, so you don't fall into an old habit of power struggling or being vindictive. And if you're struggling with your own calmness, make sure to get help for that too. So having the scripts to say can help you keep to your calmness goal, but also you may just need to understand what's going on inside yourself. You could be dealing with some habits that are really hard to overcome, maybe some just even wiring, just your own wiring that makes it a little bit more difficult for you to be gentle and to be calm. Maybe you are more of a physical person by nature, and so you've just resorted to that, but there's a lot of guilt that's part of when you're getting physical with other people, when you know you really don't need to. And I promise you, having worked with the hardest teens that my state had to offer, it's not necessary. So one thing I'd like to tell you about is this book here, The Power of Calm. It's written by me, Nicholeen Peck. It's one of the 15 books that I've written about parenting, but this one is vital. If you're wondering how to be calm in your parenting, how to be gentle in your parenting, this is probably going to be the best stop for you. And this will prepare you to use all of the self-government skills too. It will help you to be able to put off that perfectionism. It will help you stop taking their behaviors personally. You need to learn how to have a good inner dialogue with yourself, and that's what this is going to help you with. It will help you not get caught in the expectation trap, which can throw off your parenting every time. And after you've learned the things in here, then you can move on to the TSG parenting course, and you can learn how to say the words in a correction. It will give you something else to say instead of what you've been saying to help you be more effective with that. Now, I'd love for you to have some help with your parenting. So I've got 2 helps for you. They're just free gifts. Number 1, on my website right now is what I call the Calm Parenting Toolkit. It's free. It's a 10-lesson toolkit that will help you develop skills of calmness. Okay? It's not going to teach you everything for the Teaching Self-Government course. That's much longer. This is just a very abbreviated, short calmness course. Okay? That's free gift number 1, so you can go to teachingselfgovernment.com for that. Free gift number 2 is an app. So I have a Teaching Self-Government app that has charts in it for the 4 basic skills, so you can learn all of those skill sets. Also, there's a job jar that's in there. There's lots of videos. There's podcasts. There's so many helps that you can access. And there's other things if you happen to be a member of like our TSG community that you can access even other things in that app. But definitely try it out. There's immediate resources for you for free. So go to your store on your phone or wherever you get your apps and look for this little icon with the family inside the house. That's how you know it's the Teaching Self-Government app. And then also go to teachingselfgovernment.com and get your free gift there too. We'll see you there.